Let's call the meeting to order. If you would please rise and pledge your allegiance. Can you hear me in the back?
Nope.
Now can you hear? Okay.
Much better.
Alrighty. Madam Clerk, do we have any are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No, not tonight.
Are there any corrections to the minutes of the regular board meeting of October 5th, 2015? None. Hearing none. All those in favor of approving those minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So the minutes stand approved. We move on to reports. I have a few things to pass on. We got an invitation in the mail for all the trustees to attend an open house. It's for the E&L Construction Group. It's they're relocating. It's November 4th, 2015 from 1 to 5 p.m. It's 3040 Air Park Drive South. So they're looking for RSVPs. They're wanting the elected officials to go and so look for your invitation in the mail and you can respond.
What's the name of the company?
E&L Construction. I know, it's hard to remember. E&L Construction Company. So a few more things. I wanted to mention that, just read the press release from Genesee County Road Commission. This came out the end of July, and this was for Warner Road, or Flushing Road, from Warner Road to Mill Road. They began the reconstruction on that, milling and paving, August 3rd, and their anticipated date to open to traffic is Friday, October 30th. So we'll see if that gets finished before or on time or maybe after. Anyway, it's looking pretty good. We've had a lot of projects completed this summer. I want to draw your attention to our 911 reflective address signs. This is for emergency first responders. If you live in the township and we cannot see your address clearly, whether it's on your garage or by your door or by your mailbox, our first responders are going to have a difficult time finding you. And we've partnered with Mr. Foster, Bill Foster, who will coordinate putting up a sign by your house with your address on it for $20, and some of that money goes to our fire department. So the cards are over there by the mailbox in the lobby. I wanted to mention we have a road map that shows all the improvements that the township has done with the road millage. We have a road advisory committee who's been committed to advise this board of the projects that could or should be done with that road millage money. And that shows where the majority of the money went. It was a 10-year millage, and it was the township spent $5 million on maintaining and improving your road. And you can find that on the front page of our website if you're interested. Let's see, daylight savings time ends November 1st. For all of you who want an extra hour of sleep, remember to turn the clocks back. In November, we have, Madam Clerk, we only have one meeting in November.
Is that that's correct, yes.
November 16th. There will not be a meeting on November 2nd. And my last reminder is that MTerra has changed their hours at the landfill. The hours to take your truckload of materials to dump at the landfill are Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturday, 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., and they're closed on all major holidays. The best thing for you to do is to call in advance to make sure that they're there and waiting for you. And to expedite the process, you can come to the township and get a permit from Rose at the office. It just proves that you're a township resident, and you can use that landfill once a month for free for a truckload of items to dump there. So that's all I have for my report. Madam Clerk, do you have a report for us this evening?
Just a reminder that we do here in Flint Township have an election on November 3rd. We have two proposals on the ballot. Those are renewals. One is for roads and the other is for fire equipment. We are open here at the Township and Clerk's Department if you need an absentee ballot, Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. We've had approximately 1,500 requests for absentee ballots, about 1,000, just a little over 1,000 have been returned. So if you do need an absentee ballot and feel that you won't be in the area or you need one, just come see us Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. until 5:30 p.m.
Thank you. Madam Treasurer, do you have a report for us this evening?
No, just a motion, pay the bills.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Any questions or discussion regarding the motion to pay the bills? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call to pay the bills.
Mrs. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Benelli?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Scorch, yes. Mr. Castle?
Yes.
Mr. Menounos?
Yes.
Ms. Burt?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Are there any trustee reports this evening?
I don't have a report. I have a question. Are we going to have a budget hearing?
Well, if we want to have a budget hearing, I guess we can.
Well,
We always have a hearing.
I
By
got
law,
all,
we're
I got all the
required.
papers, but,
Those are for your review.
oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. Every
We're not going to discuss it together?
Now, this evening, that's for
No, I'm
review.
not talking about this evening. Whenever.
Well, I talked to the controller and I said if any of the trustees was interested, we can schedule one. Haven't heard from you guys.
Well, I
and-
didn't know about it, but I'm telling you now, I'm in favor of having a budget hearing.
Alrighty, and we'll get that scheduled then before the next meeting, because at the next meeting, we'll have a public hearing, and we hope to vote on the budget for, you notice it's a two-year budget, it's a 2016 and 2017 budget. But as I said, the next meeting is November, what is it, 16th? So between now and then, we'll schedule a workshop, and we'll have the public hearing for the budget at the next meeting, when we vote on our budget. Are there any other trustee reports? Trustee Burt, did you want to tell us about the pig roast?
Oh, yes. The senior center on the 24th is going to have our pig roast, and all the tickets are sold, all 100. So we're really excited. Should be lots of fun.
So as part of the fundraiser, you've asked people to put together baskets for donation, right?
Basket, some type of prizes, right? And then it's a Chinese auction. Everybody, with your ticket, you get one raffle ticket, and then you can purchase more. And then there'll be like buckets or jars in the front of each gift.
So we participated last year. This year, the clerk, the treasurer, and I, and another employee, we pitched in to put together a basket, and we'll be sending that over there to the senior center. So good luck on that fundraiser. We might crash the party because I didn't get a ticket.
Okay.
Are there any other trustee reports? No?
Yeah, Madam Supervisor, I'd just like to urge everybody to vote on November 3rd. It's very important villages for our township. And I also think it would be appropriate to observe a moment of silence for the University of Michigan football team.
What did you say?
A moment of silence for University
Yeah,
of
they
Michigan
were
football
silent
team.
and all right.
It was a good contest. So we move on to general reports. Chief Sippert, do you have a report for us this evening?
Well, I do, but mine includes recognition of retirees, so maybe one of the fire chief.
This is Chief Burke, do you have a report for us?
Yes, I have just one item. This past Saturday, two teams of firefighters went door to door at the Pasadena Trailer Park and checking smoke alarms up there, and we found a lot of the trailers did not have smoke detectors. We installed 32 combination smoke detectors that were bought through a grant program through community development. The firefighters took some time out of their day. Greg King, Paul Roop, Haskell Walker, and trainee Vinny Briggs took time out of their day to help us out to do that. And we got a few left. So if there's anybody that needs a smoke detector, a senior citizen, or in a community development area, we'd be more than happy to give them one.
Those were all volunteer firefighters?
Yes.
And so we wanted to say thank you to them for doing that,
Absolutely.
community service. Do you know how many smoke detectors in total that were given out through?
I did not get that. I did get with Kim. I think she has some paperwork. It's right around 35. I have a count on the folder I got. I know there was more than that. So.
Okay, well, we'll get a total count. Yep. I know that funding ends at the end of this month. Alrighty, Mrs. Tucker, do you have a report for us this evening?
I have no report this evening, but I do have an item on the agenda, so I'll talk about that when we get to it.
Alrighty, so we'll go back to you, Chief Zipper.
Well, thank you for giving me this opportunity once again to recognize a police officer that's had over 25 years of service and is now retiring. I'd like to ask Vern Chantos, Detective Vern Chantos, to please join me up front here. And we've got quite a few police officers here today. Thank you. We've got retirees that have come back also, and thank you for taking the time to be here. Vern Chantos came to our department about 25 years ago, actually October 1st, 1990, according to the record that I reviewed. Prior to coming to Flint Township, he had already worked with Argentine Township Police Department for a few years, and also with the city of Saginaw. But he left those and came to work at Flint Township. Over the years, he served as a patrol officer, a field training officer. He was a firearms instructor. He also worked on our detective bureau as an investigator. He worked at the Flint Area Narcotics Group for a while. He spent a lot of years at the auto theft unit gang, and he also worked at the Genesee Valley Mall for a while. He was assigned there. And remember that time because you bought yourself a pair of black tennis shoes, and you made it a mission that you were going to walk that mall every day. I don't remember how many times, but
I got some miles.
yeah, put some miles on those tennis shoes walking the mall. But another thing that Vern did that's significant, after the 9/11 attacks in 2001, the Township Board allowed a group of officers from Flint Township to go to New York City and to assist the police department, the New York City Police Department, in dealing with that devastating attack. And Officer Chantos was with that group, and I think you guys were, what, 2 blocks from Ground Zero?
9.
9 blocks. 9 blocks from Ground Zero on traffic control, and you were there for how long?
9 days, I believe.
9 days. And so I think he's proud of the fact, we're proud of the fact that we had a group of officers. Some of those have retired, some of them are still working. But those are some of the things that Vern Chantos did. He also received numerous citations for professional excellence and also unit citations. So therefore, on behalf of the Township Board, we want to present to you your issued firearm that has engraved your years of service and also your retirement badge. So congratulations on 25 years.
So the Township Board puts together a formal proclamation, and I'll read it to you as it'll go in our minutes for all of history. Whereas Officer Vern Chantos has served the citizens of the Charter Township of Flint as an able, thoughtful employee during his 25-plus years as a police officer of the Charter Township of Flint. Whereas Officer Chantos has been assigned as a detective working in the investigation unit, the Flint Area Narcotics Group, and most recently for the anti-auto theft team, which is called GAIN, where he received numerous awards. And whereas Officer Chantos answered a call for assistance after September 11, 2011 terrorist attack in New York City, responding with a team of Flint Township police officers to assist in the days immediately following this tragic event. Whereas Officer Chantos served as a field training officer for the police department and as a firearms instructor. And whereas Officer Chantos throughout his career received many service awards, including citations for professional excellence. And whereas the Charter Township of Flint wishes to publicly recognize the significant contributions of Officer Chantos, the Flint Township, and the Flint Township community. Now therefore, the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Flint, on behalf of the staff and residents, do hereby issue this proclamation to honor Officer Vern Chantos and recognize his time and dedication on the Charter Township of Flint Police Department. Signed this 19th day of October 2015. Congratulations and thank you very much. You don't like my shirt?
Nope.
So, well, you're not done, we gotta. So, in honor of your retirement, we have a cake here bought by your association. And look how many people are here to honor you and say goodbye. And we'd like to have your family come up if you'd introduce them and get some pictures taken with the family and then with the officers while we go on break.
This is
Come up, we'll have them come up and then.
the name. Sharon Ewells, my friend.
Thank you for being here.
Well, as we do traditionally, let's ask all the current officers and retired officers to join us up front. We usually take a group photograph and then
Yes.
we'll break from there.
So as we're doing that, we're gonna officially approve the proclamation. And a motion would be in order to do so. Is there a second support? All those in favor of approving the proclamation honoring the retirement of Vern Chantos and his service here in Flint Township signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? We are all set.
I got no pulse, so losing. Shocking. Drives it road all the time. Just had a few drinks. Just can't be happening.
Are we clear?
Clear. We're just buzzed. Just buzzed? You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right. This isn't happening. He'll be fine.
I feel good.
Really? No, not really.
Buzz driving.
Clear.
Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
Shocking.
Pretty much a good day for me would be people leaving their hands off of me. I'm always called names. Everywhere that I go, there's always someone calling me names, calling me gay. I've been choked, thrown up against a wall, punched. Nobody's ever tried to help me.
So I'd like to call the meeting back to order. And I want to thank you for joining us for this celebration this evening, and we say good luck and happy retirement to Vern Chantos. So we'll move on to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, I'd ask that you come to the podium, state your name and address, and you'll be given 3 minutes to address the board. This is not for the hearing for the block grant. We're going to have that hearing after this one. So this is anything you want to...
You don't want to hear from me twice anyways.
We're here for you.
Okay. Good evening. Harold Pauly, 1051 Cabot Drive. Should I vote yes or no on the road millage renewal? As I analyzed the situation, I had many good reasons to vote no. Some financial, just some good reasons. More imperative though, for me were reasons for me and for the residents of Flint Township to vote yes. Think back 10 years. Local roads were in deteriorating condition and not being fixed. Some paved roads were going to be reverting back to gravel. In our street, in our subdivision, we had a drainage problem that existed for over 30 years without ever any attempt for resolution by the county or the township. It would virtually make the street impassable in winter. When the millage was passed, this problem was resolved in the first year of the millage. And for the past 10 years, it's been very much appreciated by the residents. Granted, not everyone's roads got improved in the last 10 years, but many have, along with a lot of much needed ditching. Even though there are good reasons for everyone, if they want to vote no, they can vote no. Even if your road got improved, don't keep your neighbors from getting their roads improved. Because if we don't pass this millage, road improvement in Flint Township on the local level will cease. And we need to keep improving our roads. A yes vote will enable the Road Advisory Committee to coordinate the funding for the improvement of another group of roads significant to our township. So this is an endorsement to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pollack. Anyone else?
Ralph Lewis, 1423 Conway. Saturday, the 24th, is a very big day for our senior center. As was mentioned earlier, it's time for our pig roast. And I also heard somebody say that somebody didn't have a ticket. Well, guess what? I got 3 tickets left. 3 tickets left. So I hope to have them all gone by the end of the night, people. So see me after the meeting. Appreciate it. We'll hope to see you Saturday.
Tell us
Thank
the
you.
time on that, please. The time?
12 o'clock. Pig roast runs from 12 noon till 3 o'clock.
3 p.m. and that's behind the senior center on Graham Road,
It'll
right?
be inside the senior center.
Okay.
It'll be inside. We don't watch the weather.
What's the date, Louis? What's the date?
24th, this Saturday.
Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kevin Stiff, G4020 Corona Road. A couple meetings ago, trustee brought up a subject that I think was not accepted well, and that was to have more information brought to light when you're voting, so that the public has a little bit better idea what is going on. And actually, I thought that was a very good idea, because there's a lot of times that when you're voting on something out here in the public, we haven't got a clue what's going on. So I would hope that maybe you can talk about this, discuss it, and maybe actually bring this information up, and maybe even vote on it and have this information up on the wall, just like the information for the roads, what's going on. The second thing is, I went down Graham Road again, and I've got a suggestion. If you're not going to pave it, bulldoze it, because a dirt road would be smoother than what Graham Road is right now. If I had children walking down the side of the road to go to school right now, I would be furious. That road is so rough that I would feel that it would be dangerous for that. And then this one's for the chief of police. One of your officers pulled somebody in our parking lot, arrested them, put the cuffs on them, put them in the cruiser. State trooper pulled in behind him, blocked my driveway for an hour and 15 minutes. Not happy about that. This is the 4th time in 2 years. My business is small. I don't have the luxury of having 2 or more entrances to my driveway. I'm not happy about it. This happens more than once. You guys, I gotta pay taxes. If he was put in the cruiser, if he had handcuffs on, they could have moved the cruiser. I was told last year to mind my own business and go back in my business. Now, if I talk to the cops that way, what the heck would happen to me? Then, I talked to one of them, and they told me I was overreacting. Now, if I come down here and pull my car in the middle of your driveway, what are you going to do there? What are you going to do then? I'm only saying.
Thank you, Mr. Stiff.
All right? Thank you. Blanket, would you?
My name is Gerald Roberts, 4487 Lindywood Drive, Swartz Creek, Michigan. Got this leaflet through the mail. There was an article on Sunday's paper, October the 4th, with regard to, are the lawmakers running on your dime? This particular leaflet, I saw it out here in the hallway too, advocates, I'm saying advocates, the passing of the millage with regard to roads and also fire. There's $750,000 in that particular fund with regard to fire equipment right now. They say this renewal request will not increase your taxes, but continue supplying funding for township roads, and basically the same thing for the fire equipment. There's something on the books that says truth and taxation. I think Mr. Castle knows about this. Simple math. If you raise your SCV value and your multiplier from one year to the next, and the millage that was previously there has run out, and they passed the new millage, this says there's no increase in your taxes. If your multiplier goes up, there's an increase in your taxes. That's against the public law that says truth and taxation. How much money did it cost for this particular deal to go out? This money could have been used for roads. You know, it seems like you have money coming out of the general fund to give people raises. You have money coming out of the general fund to give Mr. Williamson over here in Health Plus a new road that comes out of the public coffers. You have money, in other words, that goes out of the public coffers to go down here and to get some sort of a, I guess it's Karen's friend over here that's on the remote Genesee County here. I think we paid $6,000, in other words, out of the general fund for that. When we got $3 million coming into the general fund with regard to 3.85 mils, and we have something over here on Darby Street, and we got a fire station that's not even manned here, and we're paying for fire protection, and we get Mundy Township and we get Flushing Township before our fire trucks get over here, there's something wrong here.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
William Newsom, G3480 Hogart. On a little upbeat note, I was able today to participate in a passing out of snow pants and snow boots to the elementary schools as a result of the Carmen High School reunion week we had in August. They raised almost $10,000 that week through all our events, and it's in the process now of being able to pass out. And today we passed out over 150 pair of snow pants and boots to all the elementary schools. I happened to deliver to Dye Elementary School. I took almost 50 pairs of snow pants and boots, and it's up to the school how they want to use them. They can identify the students, how they want to use it. But it feels pretty good, and I just want to let you know that the people that are from the district and who have stayed here, we're working pretty hard to help the children, and it's starting to come around. So if you happen to we just got our 501k federal charity thing, so we're going to be putting out more events throughout the year now. So if you happen to see something and it fits in your schedule, please feel free to come along and help support what we're doing, because I think it's doing a good job so far, and it's only a year old, so I think you can look for a lot of nice things in the future. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Newsom. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Dave Huffman, 2483 Warner Road. Just a couple of thoughts here. I have to concur with Mr. Roberts on his actions of why have we still got Fire Station 1? I've come up here the last 4 or 5 meetings and asked, why haven't we got full-time protection that guards Genesee Valley Shopping Mall, the biggest business area in the township, and also Western Hills, one of the more bigger affluent subdivisions. So I guess nothing's been done. I guess we're just gonna keep on playing, rolling the dice, and if something happens, oh well. Also, I've been hearing some disturbing remarks around the township concerning lawsuits that I addressed this board back in March about, and Mr. Castle, you remember when we were talking about the liability going up with insurance, with the liability cases that, cover, the township insurance companies cover these litigations. I mean, that's part of the deal, but they were going up. And I expressed my concern back then that, Flint Township with the senior center over here, I understand fired our last senior director, and of course she promptly has lawsuits against Genesee County that's going to come back to her, and she's also going to collect litigation from Flint Township. And from what I understand, she's been going around sort of beating her chest on this and telling everybody she can't wait because she's already collected one lawsuit and she's going to get the other one. And here again, I think that is a sad, sad state of affairs that you let and put this township in position to do this. And I'm, we have some members of the township board. Ms. Burt sits on that senior center, and everything, in the fire Linda Moore, for whatever reasons, was on this lawsuit. And then I understand the new director has meant well, and she's tried to do a good job, but from what I understand they're losing membership down there, and the membership is based on the members of seniors that they have down there, and now, because of the lower membership, we've lost $60,000 in federal funds because of the declining membership that's going in the senior center. Now this, folks, we've got money coming in this township, more millages, keep it going, keep the money going, keep the millages going. We keep on getting the lawsuits going and we get everything else. It seems like we've got a lot of money coming up and we've got a lot of money coming out. And I think it's frivolous, and I think some of this stuff, like I've said before, to let this go to this point, no protection, and lawsuits and money going out of this township is negligence and it's terrible leadership.
Anyone else like to address the board? No? We'll draw.
My name is Alexander Clark. I'm a resident of Flint Township and I live at 1260 Westwood Drive. I want to speak very briefly regarding an incident one of your officers that's being contemplated his dismissal. The officer's been with Flint Township for 4/5 of his career, and I understand that there has been some problems. I'm urging the board to use compassion and common sense when dealing with this officer. One of the things as a township resident that I want to see as gentleman that was my predecessor up here is avoiding lawsuits, paying out of money and things that could have been worked out in different ways, looking into the gentleman's history and what he has been through with this department. So I guess with that, I'll just go ahead and let it go and hope that you all can see within your heart and common sense to exercise compassion when dealing with this situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. I'll ask one more time, is there anyone else who would like to address the board? So we'll draw the public comment portion of the meeting to a close and we'll move on to action items. Action item A, Madam Clerk.
It's a public hearing regarding an approval of consideration for the 2016 Community Development Block Grant Public Service Project Funding Application. So we'll
open up the public hearing. So the block grant funding is on a 3-year cycle.
That's correct.
And the first year of the cycle and the third year of the cycle, we get a 5% for service projects for specifically the senior center.
that has been specifically for the senior center in the past several years. Child care services, healthcare services, nonprofit services, neighborhood organization assistance, job training, home buying assistance, fair housing activities, education, public safety, homeless services, drug abuse counseling, and recreation is under public service projects.
So this is one way of the funding the senior center, and if you'd like to address the board in regards to the public hearing for this, I'd ask you to come to this podium, state your name and address. There's a sign-up sheet that we are required to submit for community development block grant funding. So now's the time for the public hearing.
That sign-in sheet is here on the podium. If you please sign that as you come. Thank you, Jim.
Jim McClung, 1396 Graham Road. We've been nowhere.
Great. Thank you.
That one working?
Yeah.
Make sure.
I wanted to talk about the CBDG money. In the past, this board has given the senior center just under $14,000 for a food pantry. We have 35 to 40 people that rely on this every month. We've done a lot in the last year and a half to get more bang for our buck. We switched suppliers. We now go to Aldi's, and they've been more than happy with our business. They meet us at the door on a forklift truck with our food, and all we have to do is load it. They help us load it. But like I said a couple of years ago up here, the need is still there. People, like I say, they rely on this food. And every month, what we go and get, we get average, Tim that works at the senior center, and I go get the food. We spend between $1,200 and $1,400 every month. And it's a lot of groceries. It's a lot of work too. But it definitely makes the people happy and puts some food in their belly. And I just would hoping that you consider this for next year too. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board for the public hearing on CBDG funding for public service projects at the senior center? Anybody else? One more time. Anybody willing to speak at the public hearing for the approval, considering and approving block grant funding for public service projects at the senior center? So we can draw that to a close. Madam Clerk, do you want to?
You just motion to approve the Township of Flint monies of $38,908 for public service funding in consideration for food pantry for the senior center.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion?
So this is for 3 years, is that right? 2016, 2017, 2018?
Yes.
So the 38,000 is spread over 3 years?
That's correct, yes.
So that basically covers the amount of expense that Mr. McClung is talking about, if it's $1,000 a month or so. So that's good, but I'm in favor of it.
Anybody else?
It's the cycle funding 2016 through the 18th, with May 1st, 2016 through April 30th, 2017 as the first year.
I see, okay.
Trustee Burt, you represent the township on the board over there, so this funding is strictly for food pantry and the items, no poverty level, it's just by age on the give out of this, right?
Right, we do, there is a pantry for 59 and under, but that's...
Funded separately?
It's a little, yeah.
And then Funding also comes from the senior millages, senior service millages, and that's run by the county. And there was a loss in that because the new director reported accurate numbers. Is that correct?
Correct.
Correct. So this is just another way to help them function because they have lost a little bit of money because you have to report accurate numbers. Yeah.
Duplications.
All right. Who was the second?
Oh, George was? Okay.
Is there any further discussion on approving these funds from Community Development Block Grant Funds for public service projects at the Senior Center? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call please on approving these funds.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Cortez, yes. Mr. Castle?
Yes.
Mr. Menudas?
Yes.
Mrs. Burt?
Yes.
Mrs. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
So that's been approved. We move on to action item B, is to consider the formal, it's a formal notice of retirement from our Assistant Assessor, Ronna Gettle. You have the letter in your packet stating her intent to retire. Ronna's been with us for just over 25 years, and we'll do a proclamation for her at our next meeting, but we don't have to do a roll call vote. All those in favor of approving the notice of retirement from Assistant Assessor Ronna Gatto signify by saying aye. Aye. So it's opposed.
Nobody
So that's been accepted. Action item C, Chief Sippert.
You have in your board packet a request for the purchase of 8 ballistic safety helmets. These helmets are used by our incident response team. Some of our officers are wearing helmets that are almost 15 years old, and the recommended service life for those helmets is 10 years. Sergeant Kevin Salter researched the helmets and received 3 quotes, which you've got copies of, but the cheapest quote came in from Elite Defense, which is a quote of $4,780.24. We do have money in our 2014 Justice Assistance Grant funds that will cover the purchase of these helmets, and I'm respectfully requesting that the board approve us to purchase these.
And to do so, a motion would be in order?
So moved.
Is there a second? And is there any questions or discussion? Any discussion? No? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call please on approving the purchase of 8 ballistic safety helmets utilizing 2014 Justice Assistant Grant JAG funds.
Mr. Castle?
Yes.
Mr. Menudas?
Yes.
Mrs. Burt?
Yes.
Mrs. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Cortez, yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
So move on to action item D. Mrs. Tucker?
As you're all aware, we've had to do this in the past. The Zoning Enabling Act and the Planning Act require that we update our master plan every 5 years. One of the main reasons that we do need to update is that the demographics are all off because we finally have received the 2010 census numbers finally came out last year. So we do have to update that, and along with updating that, we need to make sure that our zoning ordinance matches what's going on in the master plan and the future land use map. The other issue is the Parks and Rec update, which is needed in case we need any grant funding. It's required that has been updated in a certain period of time, and that is also due for update. So I took this to the Planning Commission, asked them for recommendations to the board. All 3 were passed by the Planning Commission unanimously, and their recommendation was to this board to approve these updates.
So the 4,800 is going to come out of, do you have that budgeted in planning and zoning, or is it in building?
No, the master plan and the zoning ordinance, I have money for both of those in the Planning Commission budget.
We talked earlier.
I'm splitting it over 2 years, and I should be able to accommodate those without any increase in those budgets. The only issue would be the Parks and Rec. We can divide that over 2 years too, if that would help that budget not to have an increase, and I believe that there is money still in
There's
there
plenty of
for
money
them.
there.
So we could do that. That's gonna be up to the Parks and Rec committee how they wanna do that, and
I have a question. Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
I don't understand the cost for the Park and Rec, because I was under the impression all it was some name changes and a couple other, and I don't see where.
I thought that was as well, but we were informed that the new law requires that we have a, I've got it in here, so, it talks about what they have to do. We have to do, some meetings with the public, and it requires, they have to look for, they have to do like I don't remember if we did this before, I think we did, where the public comes in and look like a tabletop presentation that the public has to come in and look at, and Ro would prepare that for you. They also have to do, they have to send out for like surveys to the community. They've changed the park and recreation plan requirements at the state level. So
And they did that when?
I believe he told me it was in 2013. So it was since we did our last one.
So the planning and, the planning commission and zoning ordinance have gone before those two boards. And would you like to have the parks plan estimate and work that will be done come to the Parks and Recs committee before we move forward on it? We can approve this in the budget or, and bring it back, Barb, for specifics, but we can approve the general tonight and wait for you to move forward. Yeah? So we can approve this request, but we won't move forward on Parks and Recs until you bring that recommendation from the Parks and Recs board, okay? So,
What do you want to do?
we want to approve this from Roe, the $4,800 for the master plan, $1,000 for zoning ordinance update, and the amount of $4,000 for Parks and Recs. But before we go spending that money, we're going to wait for a recommendation that comes from, yes?
On the second page, it gives you what they had
More
to do.
specific.
They had to update the census info, which automatically has to be done. They have to conduct a recreation provider interviews with up to 10 providers that are in the area. And then they have to do a community gathering, which they ask for public input in as to what the public would like to see in the area. So that's the three things that they would be providing. The provider interview is new, and the community gathering is also new. Just to let you know that.
When it was done last time, there was a lot of volunteer input, especially led by Heidi Fano. So again, we'll get this information and bring it to the Parks and Recs, and you guys can mull it over and then bring a recommendation back here before any expenditure in that line item in the Parks and Recs committee.
Okay.
I mean, budget. Does that sound good?
Yes.
So we're gonna approve your request here. I mean, we're gonna vote on approving it. Motion would be in order to do so.
Motion to approve master plan review and update zoning, update Parks and Recs with the approval of Parks and Recs decision for,
What is
give the total
for
dollar amount?
58, it's just under $10,000.
4,800 for the master plan, 1,000 for the zoning ordinance, and $4,050 for Parks and Rec.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other questions? And we'll move forward with the recommendation from the Parks and Recs Committee. Madam Clerk, roll call please on moving forward with this.
Mr. Menudas?
Yes.
Mrs. Burt?
Yes.
Mrs. Parker? Yes. Ms. Benelli?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Cortez, yes. Mr. Castle?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. You have before you the certifications for the 2015 winter tax roll. We need to approve those. A motion would be necessary to move forward? So moved. Is there a second? Second. Any questions or discussion?
What's the property on Westwood and Dyewood all about?
Those are the unpaid special assessments.
Yeah.
Special assessment, road assessments.
Road adjustments. Okay, thank
Any other questions? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call please on approving the certifications to the 2015 winter tax roll. Mrs. Burt?
Oh, wait, yes.
Yes.
Ms. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Court, yes. Mr. Castle?
you. Yes.
Mr. Menounos?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Margaret.
No, that's okay.
So, action item F is possibly going into closed session to consult with the attorney for confidential legal opinion with possible board action following closed session. So, our attorney is here, Lizzie Mills from Davie Schultz and Rose. Did I say it right?
Pretty close.
You want to help us on this one?
Yes, absolutely. At this time, I understand, and I would welcome correction, but I understand that the individual whose employment potential discipline or dismissal will be considered by this board this evening has requested a closed session. So it would be appropriate if the board so chose to vote to go into closed session to consider that matter if that remains the individual's intent.
Can I ask a question first?
Please.
We will go into, as a board, we'll go into closed session with counsel first. Is that correct?
No,
No?
this is subject only to the request of the individual. We do not have a written legal opinion to correct, so that the agenda should be corrected to reflect that.
Okay.
So we need a motion to go into closed session?
No. We need to know if the individual is interested in closed session.
Yes.
So at this point, we do need a roll call to go into closed session.
It would be appropriate to have a roll call to go into closed session.
Is there a motion to do so? Is there a second? No discussion on that, is there? I don't think so. So, Madam Clerk, roll call please on the board going into closed session.
Mrs. Parker? Yeah. Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Court, yes. Mr. Castle?
Yes.
Mr. Menounos?
Yes.
Mrs. Burt?
Yes.
Motion carries.
So at this time, we have to dismiss those residents who are here, except for the individual that we're, and our attorney who's going into closed session with us.
That's low. That's low. Look, he's blushing. Seriously.
So we've come back into open session and a motion would be in order to move forward on any action.
A motion to dismiss Officer Needham based on Police Department internal investigation.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Is there any discussion or questions on the motion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call please on the motion to dismiss Officer Needham based on the internal investigation.
Mrs. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Spinelli?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Court, yes. Mr. Castle?
Yes.
Mr. Menounos?
Yes.
Mrs. Burt?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now, it was brought to my attention that we voted on something without a motion, and that was to consider Ronna Gettle's retirement. we needed a formal motion and a second, and I skipped over that. So would someone move to do so? Is there a second on that?
Second.
We already have the vote. We accepted that unanimously, correct?
Correct.
So that's taken care of. And without objection, and there being no further business, we call this meeting adjourned.
Next meeting.
Hope you sleep tonight.
I got no balls for losing.
He's in beefing.
Shocking. Drives the road all the time. Just had a few drinks. Just can't be happening.
Are we clear?
Clear. We're just buzzed. Just buzzed. You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right. This isn't happening. He'll be fine.
I feel good.
Really? No, not really.
Buzz driving.
Clear.
Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
Shocking.